bodyguards ever. Brady, Nick, where are you? The DJ from the party, DJ Jesse Marco, stand up. Our director of photography, the guy that shot this movie and made it look this cool, Ken Singh, where are you, Ken? The guy that sat in the editing room with us for like a year and a half, Jeff Groth, where are you, Jeff? Just came off Joker 1 and Joker 2. What a beast. Michael Newman, first assistant director. Where are you, Michael Newman? Nima, who else are we forgetting that's here?
Matt, we got, Matt Drake. Matt Drake, the writer, as well.
Yeah! Where's Matt Drake? Matt Drake in the back right there. For us. Amazing.
We missing anyone? Whoa, listen.
Right here, baby, he's on stage.
Is he like there somewhere?
Oh, he's right here. Anybody not on stage that we missed?
Anybody an extra in the movie?
No extras. So, here's where I want to start. This idea of Project X started with a guy who's sitting up here right now. I went to lunch. You know, as producers and executives, we go to lunch. And when you're at lunch, you try to come up with movie ideas. And I remember Alex sitting in the Warner Brothers commissary with you having just a random lunch. And you said, let me show you this video from Australia. I think we could do a found footage comedy based on this video. And you showed me the video from Australia that was Project X. Tell that story.
So, I think you guys have seen this video maybe. Corey Worthington, Australian renegade, threw a party, destroyed his house. He had, I think, over 2,000 people there. And he was on the news, and kind of like the end of the movie a little bit, it was kind of an inspiration for the end of the movie. He was on the news, and the news reports asked him if he was sorry, and he said, "Fuck no, I'm not sorry." And so that idea kind of, and also with, at the time, there was a lot of found footage movies being made, but they were mostly horror movies. And I thought, you know, why couldn't you do that with a comedy? And Scott and Todd Phillips had just made The Hangover, which was a very innovative, awesome comedy, and I felt like a good pairing to do this idea with Scott and Todd. And then obviously Nima and our incredible cast came into the picture after that.
I think I remember Alex saying like he was trying to look for footage of that party and you couldn't find it, and that's what really sparked the idea for you. You were like, where is all this footage? You know, like why is no one?
So once he showed me the video and had this idea, I went to Todd Phillips, showed him the video, and he's like, this is the craziest, greatest idea ever, but we have to convince Warner Brothers. Let me be very honest. It's virtually impossible to convince a studio that has to be very responsible to make a movie like this. So the first step was just like, okay, let us hire a writer, let us try, just give us a little bit of money. You don't have to give us the $11 million to make it, but just give us like $300,000 to hire a writer and find a director. And Matt Drake, God bless you, brother, you wrote an absolutely unbelievable script, but then we had to find a director. Me and Todd were going to do Hangover 2 in Thailand. So Todd wasn't going to be able to direct the movie. So we were watching all these reels of all these directors, and then someone slipped me, and I don't remember how it happened, but someone slipped me your reel, and on this was the coolest party you've ever seen. If you Google, later tonight, not right now, but if you Google Adidas house party commercial, you'll see a commercial for Adidas that looks just like this movie. And it was finding this guy right here, which was the glue that pulled everything together. Nima, the director. So where were you when you got this call? He was a commercial music video guy.
I was in a little village in England, you know, had never seen a movie for that. I was actually, I I remember like getting weirdly like this guy Scott Butnick is trying to get hold of me, and I was like, I thought it was bullshit. I was just kept ignoring it because it was a weird time. I was like, people kept trying to hit me up with things, and I was like, this is just another one of those. I remember I ignored it for a few months, and maybe more actually, like 6 months, and then. Someone I was working with, like a manager at the time that I had, was like, you should take this seriously, like, you know, it's Warner Brothers. I was like, oh shit, really? And then I was like, okay, sound cool. And I literally, and then we spoke, and even then I kind of played it a little bit cool, because Scott was like, we need to bring you out to LA I was in Canada at the time editing, but he was like, I need to bring you out to LA to meet everyone, meet the studio, and I was like, yeah, maybe like in a couple of months I'll be ready. And he's like, no.
I was like,
now.
motherfucker, we gotta make this movie. Hurry up.
So yeah, that was how it happened. But yeah, just this one commercial, which is kind of like also quite a mad thing to think about. Like you talk about the studio taking a risk wanting to make this movie, but there's so many things that have to kind of like align for this to happen. And just the idea that you do a commercial that kind of like catches the right people's eyes, you know what I mean? And it's like the right time, and there was an idea for a party movie, and I happened to like just do that commercial, and do you know what I mean? And then like, from that to kind of like, get the opportunity to make a fucking movie like this, it was like insanity for me, you know? So, and I think the cast also share a bit of that as well.
Yeah, well, I want to talk about the casting process, and then I want all of you guys to chime in here. So the crazy part about this movie is we wanted it to feel real. So for it to feel real, we couldn't put actors in the movie, right? If you guys recognize them as actors, it didn't feel real, they're actors. So we had to find people who hadn't done anything or hadn't done much. So we literally did a massive open call, and we probably saw 120 people for every role. And these are the winners right here.
We watched all the tape.
So let's go quickly. We're going to turn it to you guys in a little bit, but let's go quickly, like 30 seconds down the line. What is your either best or worst memory from the casting process? JB.
Worst memory from the casting process? Probably going to the studio like 20 fucking times, man.
Sorry, dog.
They kept bringing us in over and over and over again, and then are we doing this? Are we not doing this? What's going on here? No, you gotta come into the Warner Brothers lot again. So it was sort of this madness over the course of a few weeks where we just were kind of in this stage of purgatory, and we were being mixed and matched with so many amazing actors. But once Oliver, Thomas, and I were clicked together, it really started to settle itself, you know?
True story. Thomas.
I mean, there were so many auditions that a couple different times I was told that I wasn't getting the part. It's not going forward.
Yeah.
And then just a couple weeks went by.
Sorry, dog.
And then
I said that to everyone,
we're
sorry.
like, okay, we couldn't find anyone. Yeah, come back and try.
By the way, I told them to say the best or the worst memory, and they're all saying the worst memories.
The best part was hanging out
It's
with everybody.
auditioning. I mean, what? I don't know.
Big Bear, sending you guys to Big Bear, Disneyland.
Oh, Big Bear, Disneyland.
That was after we got the part.
Yeah,
That was after,
wine
that was
and
after.
dine after we got the parts, for sure.
Kirby, best or worst memory from casting?
Best memory probably is I got a phone call after a table read, and we were like, we're gonna make your part bigger, actually.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make it more like you. And I was like, all right. And like we all kind of played versions of ourselves. You're not as much of an asshole. But, we all kind of played. No, he's not. We all kind of played versions of ourselves, and yeah, I don't know. I'm proud to be up here because I actually really care about all these fuckers. So, and thank you, JB, for putting this together because it means a lot.
Hey. Pasta. Oliver.
One of my favorite is when I actually first auditioned, I had an audition for Thomas's role. And I thought, oh, that makes sense. Like, I'm like a nerdy guy or whatever. And I misread, it was the scene with the drugs where we're taking the pills, or where I'm giving you the pills, but it was basically, I was playing that part. And I thought it was in a bathroom. And I thought.
By the way, hold on real quick. That was 15 years ago. No pills, no powder today. No pills, no powder today. That was 15 years ago. Keep going.
No one's taking
Until
drugs
we make the
anymore.
sequel.
No one's taking drugs anymore. I remember it was taking pills in a bathroom, and for whatever reason, I was so young and stupid that I thought that I was taking a shit in the scene. No, seriously, I thought I was taking a shit in the scene, giving him drugs. I don't know why that's what went on in my head. So I put in the first audition, I don't even think you guys were there, but I was like, I'd never been on an audition before. So I was like, I'm pulling my pants down. I bought tidy whitey underwears just to wear. I pull my pants down and I'm like, come on bro, take these pills or whatever it was. Or I think someone was giving it to me, I don't remember the scene.
Was our female casting director very, like, scared at that moment?
No, I think they clearly liked me. No, it was actually at that moment they were like, Oliver, can you go outside 15 minutes, come back and read Costa? That's what it was, because they were like, this guy's clearly crazy. Yeah.
Hi, Dax.
I was in high school and y'all were flying me out to do the auditions in Burbank, so that was really cool.
And you were staying at like the Tangerine Hotel next to Don Cuco's in Burbank. I remember that.
Even though Dax, you don't see him that much in the movie, he was there every single day and watched and wanted to like really be part of it, which was wicked. Thank you, Dax.
Yeah, that was fun.
Alexis. Someone give Alexis a microphone. Someone give Alexis a microphone.
Hi.
Hey!
I would say the best would be when I got a call that I got a role, and then I'd have like a couple lines or something. I was like, yes! I had just gotten an agent and manager and stuff, and got thrown into this. That was the first part of the best news. Then the second part of the best news was like a week later getting a call that they wanted to see me and only me to do a cold reading to potentially do a bigger part. That was crazy, and then that worked out. The worst memory that I will talk about.
From casting?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't worry, Butters.
Love you.
I love you too.
We're not going to talk about that other worst memory.
It's all good, buddy. Would be when I actually got to audition for this. Like it was already in the middle of like their 6th callback or something. So when I walked onto the stage, if you will, there was a lot of dirty looks from other actors that had been there like 6, 7, 8 times, and it was my first time walking in. So that was my worst memory of the casting process, having to like be
Having to be a winner.
having to be militant and not look anyone in the fucking eyes as I go to my audition. Pretty much.
I think one thing that was really cool is that like Neem and I were always talking about like how do we make these guys that didn't know each other best friends. So like, but we didn't really have to do anything. They just kind of did it on their own. So like, I remember J.B. Thomas, Oliver, you guys like on your own went to Disneyland, right?
Yeah. That was Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh, that was one of
And
those.
the party bus was you guys too, the party bus.
And then I remember we did a Big Bear trip, right? To
That
Big
was
Bear,
a lot of
to
fun.
House of Big Bear. And like just watching them click like that was unbelievable. Like they really became these guys.
I think just the fact that they were all so kind of young and new to it as well, and it was like this kind of opportunity sort of made them feel safer being together. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like naturally, they were just hanging out without us even trying to make it
Well, I think it was also because we were all in a very similar situation where, like, I mean, I went from like living with my aunts and, you know, to, oh, you're starring in a Warner Brothers movie. I mean, I remember finding out that I was doing that opening scene, like where I'm like, I forget the opening of the movie. I remember I found out, like, literally, like, my aunt had double hip replacement surgery. I'm like putting on her socks, and I get a call from you telling me like you gotta do this opening scene tomorrow. So it's like, yeah, for all of us, I feel like it was just such, we were bonding on this.
Yeah, we were getting
you know,
paid at what? I mean,
Yeah.
I was 18.
Yeah.
I was
20.
Yeah,
I was
19,
19.
so young, and getting paid to be in a movie.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So the production process was wild. So because there were so many night scenes, other than the school stuff, which we shot during the day at Palisades High, Pali High was the school. Almost everything else was shot at the Warner Brothers Ranch, which is the lot. It was a fake neighborhood. Obviously, we didn't burn down a real neighborhood.
Which, by the way, was where I shot my Adidas commercial, which was
In the same house?
The same fucking house, yeah. It was weird. It was so weird to come back there to do it again. I was trying to push to shoot it somewhere else. Do you remember we went to look at that place that was like toxic?
No, that was perfect.
Yeah.
And so we would come in at like 4 in the afternoon. Our call time was like 4 in the afternoon. And all we would do for the first like 2 to 3 hours is rehearse. No cameras, no shooting, nothing. We would just rehearse every scene because so many young actors, etc. We just rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. Then at like 7 or 8 o'clock, we would break for dinner and everyone would have dinner. And then as soon as the sun went down, we would start shooting at 9 o'clock at night, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and we would shoot till 6 in the morning. We literally are looking for the sky to start turning purple. And we're like, okay, sky's purple, we gotta go home. And then I'm sure everyone remembers like driving home in the blazing sunlight at 6:30, 7 in the morning, and going to bed at 9, waking up at 2, and doing the whole thing again.
We were vampires, man. It was wild. I mean, where do we even start with it? It was a 3-month party where we were the center of attention. It was gnarly. It was wild. It was absolute chaos in the best possible way. I mean, there are so many stories and so many experiences which I will hold for the rest of our lives, you know?
Well, I mean, not only was there like the camaraderie between us, but then the extras, like the same background people that we had every day for 6 weeks, they eventually started like bonding, and then they would throw their own parties on the weekends, and so then we would get invited, and we get to go to these big extras parties, basically like doing the real thing on the weekends. I've never had that happen before.
And also, just quickly, it was the environment that we tried to create on the set that made people actually have fun. I mean, we didn't provide anything for them to have fun, but I just mean like, we had a DJ there the whole time, Jesse,
Yeah, it was Jesse.
It was all very intentional.
Yeah, it was like we created, there was music always playing, whenever there was extras there, in the background, everyone was like genuinely kind of having fun. It was like the best sort of like summer job these kids had, you know, and then, yeah, so we just created an environment where people really felt like they could party, and it wasn't like action, now party, you know?
I remember one really funny
Put the
story.
microphone in your mouth.
Oh, sorry. I remember one really funny story I was thinking about when you asked that, when you were bringing that up today. And one day there was on the call sheet, there was a make-out montage for my character. And at that point in my life, I was very excited for this make-out montage. Very excited. And I remember the second, maybe it was Michael Newman, the AD, or one of the ADs was like, you know, Nima told line up, you know, all the girls for the makeout montage. We're doing it at the very end of the night. And I see this lineup of like the most beautiful extras in the movie. I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking crazy. I can't wait to tell my friends back in Ohio. And Nima comes around and he's like, fuck this, mate. He's like, fuck this, these girls are way too hot for him. And they get rid of all these girls and they bring in the you know, no shade.
That was right, that was right.
No shade,
I wanted to feel aspirational, but I wanted to feel real.
I was like,
too.
can't we just do the fake one first? Me?
No, but honestly, like that's a really good point. That was his attention to detail, right? That's why when you see his Adidas commercial, like what Nima just said, he said, I want it to be aspirational, but I also want it to be real. Like, that motherfucker's not gonna be making out with a bunch of fucking tens. I'm sorry. No offense to his girlfriend that's in the crowd.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but we had like a dance sequence. I don't think it ended up in the final cut where Oliver and I were dancing on a car, and he was holding his chalice, and he slammed it down, and he sliced my head open, and I'm bleeding everywhere, and I'm bleeding all over myself. It's really gory. A medic shows up from set. He pours liquid bandage on my head, stitches me up, and he goes, hey, do you want some blow? And then I turn to Scott, and he fires him. He kicks him off set. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't mean to get this guy fired. And this guy goes, you can't have the medic offer you cocaine on a Warner Brothers set. you can't do that here. So he was responsible, in spite of the chaos.
I had to be the responsible one. Yeah. Yeah, that guy was fired and maybe arrested.
I just remember the thumb track because we didn't know what music there was gonna. I love the soundtrack. It's fucking epic.
Shout out to Gabe Hill for putting the soundtrack together.
We didn't know what songs were gonna be popular when it came out or when it was gonna come out. So for that entire like night sequence, it would just be like thumb track and go boom, boom, boom. You just had to pretend to dance to like fucking nothing, and it was awkward. And at some point, I would just because I was exhausted, and yeah, I remember that.
So yeah, it's weird. It's like when we weren't shooting, we were blasting music, and then when we went to Raw, we cut the music and like just had a thumb track which you can remove in post. So we just had this like.
You can't have music over dialogue, right? We can't hear what they're saying if there's music playing, so we have to turn the music off.
Yeah. So immediately, but when we cut, like immediately the music would go back up when it was up high. So it was a bit weird, I guess. Feeling.
I think Michael held the fort down though, you know, because he was like a conductor operating the thumb tracks. Do you remember that? Michael Newman.
Dax Flame, do you have anything you want to add to this, buddy?
It was cool to like see some of the scenes like I didn't remember filming. That's kind of cool to watch it and then be like, oh, I filmed that.
Yeah. I thought you did a great job with that, Dax.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Alex and Alexis.
I'll tell a quick story. This is after the movie was shot, but you know, when you make a movie, you see the director's cut, and you kind of know right away either this movie has magic in it or it doesn't. And I remember the first time we were watching the movie, Scott, me, Todd, Joel, Andrew, we all knew this movie has the magic, and that was really exciting.
Yeah. Thanks, man. We're still friends.
Something about that whole experience just kind of put a black hole in my memory. Me and Kirby talking unlocked some things for sure. I just need to like talk it out sometimes.
That sounds bad.
I know it sounds bad, but you know, there was very visceral memories of driving home at 6 a.m. Like I remember that really clearly, and then like the nights would kind of just blur. It's weird. And I was not doing drugs with the extras. And they brought them themselves. We didn't know about that. Lots of weird.
It was a different time.
It was a different age.
It's 2010, by the way. 2010 is so ago now.
All right, let's take some questions from the audience. Let's see here. We'll start over here in the yellow. Microphone, mic check. Microphone to the right. Where you going? To the right, over there. Okay, project. Oh man, it's so funny you say that. Like literally, I was sitting next to Jesse, the DJ, and like there were certain F words that I'm like, wow, we couldn't say that today. And then other words that you really couldn't say today, but
Pretty much all my dialogue.
yeah. But I don't know if we. I don't know. There's some rumors going around about a sequel. If I don't know. I feel like if we do a sequel, we're just gonna be as raw. We're not gonna clean it up today. It's gonna be hard R. That's hard R, baby.
Scott, do you remember this? I know you remember this. So when we screened the movie for the studio, the head of the studio at the time, who's no longer the head of the studio, said, "This is the most offensive movie the studio has ever made."
Is that true?
That's true. That's true. And I remember somebody said, I don't know who it was, said, "Well, we should put that in the poster." And, you know, so, I don't know if they make it today. Is the answer right?
By the way, hypothetically, I don't know if this is true or not, but the rumor is that we had to delay the release of the movie because the head of the studio had to retire before it came out. That was his rule. He goes, I have to be long gone from this job before this movie comes out.
I will say one thing, just seeing it, I haven't seen this movie in 12 years probably, and seeing it with an audience like this really was amazing. Like, seeing you guys laugh and enjoy it, like, honestly, I started at some point, like, I was like dancing in my seat. I was like, they need more movies. I mean, obviously, maybe you don't say a few of the words that I say in this movie, but they need some more movies like this that really, you know, are just fun and enjoyable. And like, it was really cool seeing them. So thank you guys.
Young lady in the middle right here.
I'm inspired
It's for the actors.
Yeah, Kirby, you want to take that
That's
one?
an interesting question.
Saying, is it different acting?
Acting towards found footage.
Yeah, no, we just kind of forgot that it was there. Like I said, it was kind of like close to home, so we just kind of forgot that. We wouldn't even know sometimes when they were filming, actually. There were times where we would be dancing and doing stuff, and then like I would see the camera off over there, and I still didn't realize the camera was like under me when we were doing that first scene. I was like, wait, where is the camera? But yeah, we just kind of like focused on the person in front of you and just kind of did it as if it was like, obviously we can't shoot down the barrel, but we also like, I didn't always know where the camera was, which was kind of cool too.
I feel like in a sort of found footage, especially with comedy, it's quite challenging because traditionally you get to do coverage and get all your different sizes and your close-ups and like reactions. We couldn't do any of that really.
I don't know if I thought it would be 15 years later, people would still be resonating with the movie.
No, I always want to say this by far. The time shooting this movie, meeting everyone, and it coming out, the most nostalgic time in my life. Like thinking back on it, and still like just there's nothing like that, and being like your first kind of big opportunity. Yeah, I'll never forget it, and it was as crazy and fun as it looked. And so yeah, it was a very special experience, and also like opened the door for me to like get other acting jobs, and so yeah, for me. So important, and also the script. It felt really big, like when I read it. I thought I was going to meet Kanye West. At the time, that meant something like really different, obviously. But